National average for freight rates have plummeted in the month of May. Currently, right now, it's sitting at $1.93 per mile. I just wanted to show you what we go through on a regular basis right now on the open board. So a lot of people don't believe how bad it is out there. But here, I got my load board open and I'm looking for all the loads going from California going to Illinois. And I'm gonna do the same thing from Illinois going to California. I want you guys to see what the options are out there for on the open market. And then we are going to actually maybe talk a little bit about expenses to see. I think that, it's safe to say that people are actually running their trucks at a loss today. Now, how much of a loss? Well, make sure you're here until the end of this video to find out. But I just want to scan to see what are my options if I was to have a truck in California. So I'm going to take my notepad over here. I got my Google Maps over here. I have here a options at $1.78, $1.74, $1.65, $1.60, all the way down to $1.34. Imagine running California to Illinois. We're talking about, close to 2,000 miles, $1.65 per mile, based on what I see over here. So $1.65 per mile going one way. And now we're gonna look at the rates going the other way. So $1.65. Now I want you to know that a trucking company, depending on the size, their expenses are anywhere between about $1.95 till about $2.15 per mile, depending on the size of your operation, depending on your insurance premiums. A lot of it, our number one biggest expense is fuel. The second biggest expense, I would say, is the driver's pay. Now, if a load pays $1.65 going one way, and now we're gonna look over here, how much do actual loads pay from Illinois going to California? And then we have here, you can see the rates are $1.45, $1.41, $1.40, $1.40, $1.28. I would say the average was probably at $1.35. So if you have $1.65 going one way and $1.35 going the other way, and you divide that by 2, I just want to get the average. If I was to do this round trip, taking one load going to California and then from California back to Illinois, so the average would be on my round trip is $1.50. Just simple math right now. Fuel with the national average is about 65 cents per mile. You have driver's pay anywhere between 60 to 75 cents. So let's take another 65 cents per mile. Then you have your truck and your trailer, which is about probably 40 cents per mile. You have your insurance, which is about 15 cents per mile. Then you have your tolls, your bridges, on-road expenses. You have your maintenance, repairs. If I was to do this round trip, I'm actually going to be losing about 40 cents per mile, maybe even more, maybe 45 cents per mile on this trip. Now, for this trip, it's 2,000 one way, 2,000 miles the other way. It's 4,000 miles. So by taking this load, I, as a fleet, would actually be losing 45 cents per mile, would be $1,800 would be my loss. Now, a lot of you might think there's no way in hell people would do this. Why in the world would anybody do this? So obviously, as dispatchers, our number one goal is to find the best deal for our drivers. So I would never in my life take this load or service right now the Illinois to California or California to Illinois. What I would do is I would probably look for much shorter routes where I can make a lot more rate per mile. So I'd probably look at those 400 or 500 mile runs. I try to get over 225, 230, 240 per mile. It might be hard to do right now, depending on where your truck is. But again, this is how bad our industry has gotten. Obviously, influx of trucks, not enough loads right now in the market. That's why the national average is $1.93 per mile. Now, on longer runs, it could actually be a lot lower than that. In our test right now, we did $1.50 per mile. I'm sure if I chose other lanes like Illinois, Wisconsin to Illinois, the rate per mile would be much higher. It would probably be around 240, 230. So if you are on these load boards and you are getting stuck and you don't know what to do, running shorter miles would probably be a much better option for you. Also, dabbling on flatbed and dabbling on reefers. If you have any in your fleet, you might want to convert a few drivers into the van and reefers, because the national average for freight rates in the reefer market right now is $2.26 per mile, which is extremely low. And I do expect that in May and June for it to go up a little bit because of the produce season. And then the flatbed division is still holding strong at $2.57 per mile as a national average round trip rates. So that would probably be the best bet. But again, there are options. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm Ronan. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll catch you in my next one.